And we are recording live.
Hello, everybody. Right. Thank you so much for checking in. We have a wonderful guest for you guys today. He is a fractional executive creating teams, products, and partnerships that service a greater good. His practice focuses primarily on executive team leadership and business development. And his favorite clients are his two pro bono ones, a nonprofit that exists to serve, develop, and grow other nonprofits, and an organization that builds and researches climate change ideas, open sourcing the results for a greater good. Everyone, please welcome Cohagen Wilkinson. How you doing today, man?
Hey, doing great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for being on the show. It really means a lot to us.
Yeah, this is great. Yeah, thanks, Cohagen. Really appreciate it. I know we connected it was last December, I think, at Whistler, right? Your whole family came out and we got together and we had just a great we had a great time.
We did have a good time.
A little bit too good of a time, but it was a great time. Yeah.
Never too good of a time.
Yeah.
Hey, what happens in Whistler stays in Whistler, okay?
Stays in Whistler. Yeah. And then right after that, we got locked down.
That's right. Yeah. It wasn't too long after.
It wasn't. It was about a month or so after that, I think. Yeah. Okay, what we do at our show here first is, oh my gosh, is we do something called Two Truths and a Lie. So I'm gonna spit these out here. And two are lies, and one is the truth. So Devin and I are gonna have to guess.
Either way.
Which is? Oh, is that what I said?
Truths.
Two truths and a lie.
Yeah.
Sure? Are you sure?
I mean, I might be lying about all
there
three.
There may be.
They could be all lies.
I looked at these and I thought, I don't know about these. They're all BS. Okay, number one. So Devin and I are gonna guess. Number one. Cohagen once worked at a Taco Bell for 2 weeks. Off the books, so that's like under the table, is it? Like you just kind of.
That's right. Yeah.
that's kind
no
of
permits, no nothing.
It's kind of a bizarre one. Wow, you volunteered to work at a Taco Bell, pretty much. Okay. Okay. Cohagen once spent 4 months in Mexico trying to set up a tequila distillery. Gee whiz. Yeah.
Unsuccessful. Partially due to the fact that I have terrible Spanish, just really bad.
Okay, and then the third one here is the primary reason Cohagen got his pilot's license was just in case he ever had to play truth, and a lie.
Yeah.
All right, Dev, let's see. Man, so he probably is a pilot. I'm just thinking he probably is a pilot.
Maybe, I don't know.
You're going with pilot as the fake.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm gonna go the pilot as the fake.
Okay, let's just choose other ones. So we'll have them all. But I'll go with. Let's go with. I feel like under the table Taco Bell is a real deal. I feel like that really happened. I'll go with the second one, Mexico.
Okay. You guys want to know who's right?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Devin's right. He got it.
Yes.
Yep. Yeah. I've actually never been to Mexico. I would love to. I went to school down in Texas, so I had this whole elaborate backstory planned in case you guys asked me about it. I was gonna lie straight through my teeth. But I didn't end up having to go there. Yeah, so I did work at a Taco Bell for 2 weeks under the books, or under the table, off the books. And right. If I'm being honest, the two truths and a lie thing was a primary driver behind deciding to get my pilot's license. I thought it'd make for a great story. Like I don't have that much like in terms of credentials that make people go, huh. So that's my credential.
Oh, there you go. That's cool. That's pretty cool.
Man, that's a good one. That is a good one.
Yeah. And you're in Lincoln, Nebraska. Just everybody.
I am in Lincoln. Yeah.
You're in Lincoln, Nebraska, right in the middle of everything.
Yep. Yeah. Grew up here. Went to school down in Texas. Spent some time in Minnesota and then St. Louis, and moved back.
Where in Texas were you? Where were you in Texas?
Yeah, I went to school at Southern Methodist down in Dallas.
Down in Dallas. Okay. I was down at Texas A&M for a while. I took a hazardous materials and emergency response kind of old course and clinic. Yeah. Down on Galveston, down on the, but actually they're kind of their outstation down on the Gulf of Mexico.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. It was wild. I had a great time. Yeah.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was a little bit too much fun. I got along really well with my classmates there.
There you go.
Yeah, we explored quite a bit.
So-
So Dev, you want to
Yeah,
lead in with
so-
a question there?
Oh, we were checking out your www.cohagen.com. Your pictures
Yeah.
on there, unbelievable. I can really get a read for your character through your pictures. They're unbelievable,
thanks, man.
unbelievable pieces of art that you got going on there. But what we were interested in was www. all one word carbon emissions project, or carbon emission project. We're wondering like. What is for people who don't know, can you give us a little bit of backstory behind what is the carbon emission project?
Sure. Yeah. So it kind of goes back to a conversation that I was having with my buddy Clay a couple of years ago. Clay and I have been friends since middle school. We were friends all through high school and into college and beyond. But both of us felt like we were slaving away at our careers, trying to amass this large sum of money and influence and power to be able to make a change or an impact on climate change.
Right.
Since a young age, both Clay and I have shared a passion, I guess, for the planet, and specifically the climate change challenge that we're in today. So,
Right.
we were having this conversation about how like someday we're going to be rich and powerful enough to do something. And it took kind of taking a step back from that and looking at it critically to realize we don't have to wait. We don't have to be rich and powerful to be able to do something good for the planet and to play our part in reversing the climate change disaster. So we decided to do something. We founded this organization. We actually started off with a project that was called the Arctic Foundation.
Okay.
And we called it that because we heard from academics that they really like not initialisms. When the letters in a word stand for something. What is that called?
Acronym?
Thank you. My gosh, acronym. Apparently academics really resonate with acronyms because it makes you seem professional.
That's right.
So it was like the American Resources Initiative, something or other. But the goal of this forum is basically a climate forum. It was bringing academics together from all across different fields and studies, multidisciplinarians, to ideate on different possible novel solutions for climate change. So we had a number of these forums over a couple of different weekends, and we invited some of the top minds in their fields from all over the I guess it's not just the country. We had some from Canada too.
Yeah.
There you go.
But so North America, let's say,
Awesome.
to just brainstorm and think up, what haven't we tried yet? And there were a number of interesting ideas that came out of these conversations that we took and founded this carbon emissions project around. So right now we have two active projects. One that we've taken, and then a third that we've kind of taken a step back from, and then two more that are kind of on the way in. All of our projects are volunteer driven. We accept volunteers from all over the world to help with our projects. Some of them are more computer science driven. Some of them are a little more marketing driven. And we're just trying to make a difference.
That's fantastic. I saw that, one of your projects where you were, talking about tracking, emissions, carbon emissions, and it's a carbon map. And I looked at that and I thought, that's really cool. That's a really, really cool idea. And basically you're using NASA and satellites and whatnot to be able to track plumes, I'm assuming. And you can almost, retrace your steps back to the, the person or the company or whoever or whatever, if it's the city that's emitting these, emissions. Is that right? Is that how that?
Yeah, essentially, yes.
Cool.
Yeah. So the project is called the Carbon Flux Map.
Right.
Flux being a change, right?
Yeah.
So the idea there, this is one of the ones that came out of one of our climate forums.
Yeah.
Was to take all of the satellite data that comes from NASA and the European Space Agency, where they're collecting visual data from the myriad of sensors that they have on these satellites, and train it against ground truth. So a lot of people don't realize that there are thousands of carbon flux towers out there, which are essentially sensor packages that you put on the top of a steel tube that measure what are called eddy covariances, which is small changes in the CO2 within the air. So they can measure the change in CO2 as CO2 is absorbed into a forest, perhaps, or emitted off of a highway, things like that, at a very granular level, at a very high accuracy level. And since we know where those towers are, the idea is to be able to take the satellite data and train it against what we know to be true. So we can train the satellite data so that where there isn't a tower, we can still apply the same differences that are learned from training it against the ground truth, so that we could have a true picture of where the carbon flux exists within different ecosystems. So the idea would be that you'd be able to have a relatively high resolution map of the carbon fluxes, and this data could be used to hold governments or individuals or organizations accountable, or it could be used to simply track where the emissions are coming from. I mean, there's a lot of things that could be used here. One of the ideas that we think has the potential to help fund this out of its infancy would be selling the data to Wall Street. We feel that just simply having more information about the productive output of a certain geographic area would probably help some hedge fund managers to make wiser decisions. And if they're the ones funding the project, then everybody else can use it for free. But
it's really interesting, because I used to do something like that years ago. This is probably 30 plus years ago, when computer technology was in its infancy and whatnot. We used to do computer modeling for oil spill response, for oil spills, and for plume modeling for discharges for like an explosion that would happen at a refinery or something, and you could track the plume. Or if there was an oil spill from a ship or an oil spill from some site, you would use you would input all of the ocean current data and the winds and put in the variables and blah, blah. And then you'd be able to track the plume of the oil spill on the surface of the water or, in the air. And we were using GIS system, global information. It was called the Global Information System. I think that's what it was, GIS system. And so this really has got my interest. This is cool. So we're doing this kind of on a whole different level with the technology, with satellites, that we're able to do this now. This is fantastic. Yeah.
I'll say we haven't gotten it working yet. It's all
have to start somewhere. Yeah.
Right. We're trying to build out the proof of concept. Right now, where we're stuck is we simply don't have enough data in the data products available from NASA to be able to train our models.
Right.
And the data that does exist is relatively difficult to access and use. So this is one of the ideas that we have for a future project, is working with NASA. We've been reaching out to some of our contacts there to pitch them on this idea of making the data that they have more easily accessible and consumable, not only by academics, but climate warriors like us who don't have an academic background, who aren't funded through grant funding, but want to use the data to make interesting things. Yeah.
So here's another question, a much bigger question. So how do you think that humanity can slow down considerably the climate crisis and global warming and things that there's we're aware of it. Everybody seems to be aware of it, but I find with humanity and people in general, unless we're pushed so far into the nasty zone that we really don't start doing anything about it. It's in our nature. And right now, we see that the glaciers are receding and the storms are getting bigger, and that's pretty bad. But as humans, we're really smart, and we're able to think our way and engineer our way out of almost anything. But why is it that we have to be pushed so far before we actually really take notice? And so what do you think we can be doing now? How can we ring the fire alarm to really bring more attention to this crisis? It's a massive question, I know, but I don't know if you have any thoughts on that.
To be honest, Nigel, I don't know. I don't have the answer. It's it's kind of the crux of the issue, right? Is that there seems to be this state of apathy.
Yes, exactly.
Across
State of
humanity.
apathy. Absolutely. Yeah.
Where if this isn't affecting me personally, then
Yes.
it's not something that I need to change my behavior about, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Or even a mentality of like, yeah, that's going to be a problem, or that is a problem, but like, what can I do about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think part of the issue, and this is my personal opinion, it's a little controversial, I think, but I think part of the issue are campaigns like don't use straws, because not using straws is going to save the planet.
Right.
And to a certain extent, yes, not using straws has a positive impact. But my concern is that what that does is it creates this reality for people where they feel like, well, I'm not using straws, so I'm doing enough.
Exactly.
Like
Yeah.
I can take my round the world jet trip because I'm not using straws.
Yeah.
Like where there's a huge disconnect.
That's a
there.
good
Yeah,
point.
I was actually blown away by the straw movement. You know, a buddy of mine, Praveen Varshney, he in Vancouver here, he's an EO member that I've been friends with for years. I was at an event with him, and he goes, "Oh, you know, we're talking about this movement to change, you know, awareness on straws, plastic straws." I'm like, "Yeah, okay, that's really cool." Well, then. He and I mean, so many other people around the world, this thing took off, and it took off in probably a year, 6 months to a year. And then suddenly every restaurant you go to, you know, no, we got paper straws. Oh, I don't want a plastic straw. I don't want a plastic. You know, I thought that, and I think that was great. And the urgency in the straw. I mean, the one photograph that really affected everybody was the turtle with the straw up its nose, like right up inside its nose. And that was shocking. And suddenly overnight we changed this whole well-being about straws. But like you said, it's great that we're able to do that about straws, but what about, you know, the bigger picture and thing? I think straws are something people can get their head around. It's something that, you know, I can see that, I can do that, and, you know, I can do my part. It's concrete, it's something. But
and there's like an emotional attachment to the photo of the
photo of the turtle up the turtle's nose.
I want to be clear. I totally support the anti-straw movement,
and I do too. I absolutely do too.
Yeah.
I do too. Yeah. But it's like
the issue is when people stop there.
Picture. They stop there, and they get on their private jet and they fly to an island to have, you know, a global summit to talk about global, you know, it just, you know, climate change. It just doesn't make sense.
Or even passenger jets, like commercial jets.
Yes.
The carbon output of those is tremendous. One of the other projects we're working on is this carbon calculator, which would allow people, individuals, governments, I suppose, companies, to calculate their carbon emissions. Because right now the ability is there, the data is there, but so much of it is behind paywalls that it's not accessible for most people. Right. So we're trying to build this open source calculator with an open source database so that people can build tools and processes around how to calculate their own emissions. But that's I think one of the things that regular real life people can do. They can go and calculate their emissions. They can make a donation to an organization that goes and plants trees or otherwise offsets their personal emissions. But it kind of goes back to the straw thing. It's something that I do. It's something that I do for myself and my company and et cetera. But I question whether that is enough, if that's going to get us where we need to go.
Yeah.
I think in the long run, it's going to be the governments that are offsetting their carbon. It's going to be corporations. I shouldn't have to do it. The companies that I'm buying these goods and services from should be doing it, right? Because it removes the onus from the individual. It doesn't present a chance for someone to say, no, that's not important to me.
Yeah.
But
I think also it's you know, it's like a general awakening of humanity as well. And then how does that happen? And I honestly believe that you guys, like the younger generations, you guys are so switched on, and you're so well educated, much more educated than my generation, because you have more access to information. Hopefully the correct information, but information. And you know, the awakening of the people, the awakening of the young people in the society are making huge change. I mean, there's incredible things going on, and I really believe that it's a snowball effect. Once that snowball, you know, you start it moving, and then it gets momentum, and then everybody wants to be on board. But it's that we're at that period now of, the awakening, and then just getting that ball just starting to roll. And it's people like you guys that are, at the tip of the spear. You're the tip of the spear of this whole awakening of humanity, and it's something that has to happen. And I think it could happen fairly quickly if there's a massive awakening of the people. And the youth are the youth are really making a huge difference right now.
Well,
That's what I'm seeing anyway.
This platform that you have going sounds like, right? It's just this data that people have accessible. So then it raises awareness, right? And it's just like that. And that's kind of like that was your question, right? Like, what can people do? Well, I think people can just be more aware.
Yes.
To start with. So I think you answered that question beautifully by just talking about your project.
Yeah. And there's conclaves. There's a conclave here called Hollyhock on Cortez Island, and also in Vancouver. And actually, we have Joel Solomon. So Joel Solomon and his wife are one of the founders of Hollyhock, and it's a huge think tank of people talking about exactly this type of thing. And people come from all over the world and take part. And you're on an island, you're locked down for 5 or 6 or 7 days or 2 weeks with people from all over the planet trying to solve or trying to discuss these type of issues. And they go away back to their communities and they plant their seeds, and it multiplies from there. And so I'll connect you with Joel, because he's going to be on we're interviewing Joel next week. And also Mike Rollins is another one that's involved in Hollyhock and the whole greater. He's going to be on the following week after Joel. And I really believe that it's these conclaves and the youth and the movements and the general awakening. And you mentioned something different again that I've never heard of. Is you call yourself a fractional executive or fractional entrepreneur?
Fractional executive.
Fractional. Yeah. So what the heck is that? I have no idea what that is.
It's
interesting.
This new age gig economy part-timer type of situation. Yeah. So
okay. I see. Yeah.
Yeah. I a couple of years ago when I left Microsoft, I started getting into I don't know if you probably have heard of EOS, or the Entrepreneur's Operating System.
Yes.
Nigel,
yes.
Through
I know EOS. Yes. Yeah, that's right.
So I started getting into fractional integration. I was an integrator for a couple of different companies. And for those who aren't familiar, EOS is the Entrepreneur's Operating System. It's based on a book written by Gino Wickman that outlines a framework or a structure for how to organize and operate your small business. Everything from how you set and work toward achieving goals, to how you hold a meeting, to how you organize a leadership team. And one of the key components of EOS is this concept of splitting that lead head role in two. You've got the visionary, typically the founder. They're the big picture ideas guy or gal. The chest pumper, the vision setter, right? And then there's their partner, the integrator, who takes all of that vision and develops and executes on a strategy. So the leadership team reports up through the integrator. They have ultimate profit and loss responsibility for the organization. Mm-hmm. And I saw a number of people in my immediate community who had businesses, who were the classic visionaries, who were just spinning their tires. They were stuck in the mud. They couldn't get traction. And I offered to come and help them out. So I've been doing this for a couple of years now as a fractional integrator. I've been growing into some other areas as well, like business development that I really enjoy, just helping companies figure out what to do with their intellectual property to set up new products and to develop new partnerships. And I find that work really rewarding. And it's really fun to be able to do it for multiple organizations. I think if I just had one company, I would get bored, and maybe that's the millennial in me speaking, but I just find
I love it. I think that's something new for the future here. And I think this, what's happened with this COVID has forced us as humanity to kind of rethink everything and rethink our platforms and rethink our way we work. And now I'm at home, Devin's at home, you're at home, and we're able to function, and we've reinvented the workspace. And I like what you're saying about the fractional stuff.
Yeah.
And so for example, myself, I founded this company called AquaGuard Spill Response. We build and manufacture oil spill response equipment, and we, supply it around the world, and we supply it for marine oil spills, BP Horizon, all of that. But that led me down a path of really, being more aware and really caring for our world's oceans. So therefore, I've got my business, my main business, but then I've kind of stepped out to the side, and Devin and I and our family, we created this thing called True Beach, where we help bring awareness and hopefully change to the condition of the pollution in our ocean. So it's an app, and it's a movement called True Beach. And then from that, Devin and I are both, dyslexic and have ADD. So we formed this other group called giftadd.com, which helps dispel the myth that people with ADD and dyslexia it's a gift and we're not freaks. And so I see myself being more fractional like this in the modern world than the old traditional way, where I'd get up in the morning. My old business partner used to say to me, and it used to drive me a bit crazy, because I was the guy that was all over the place. I was the guy that was traveling the world kind of promoting, and he was the genius we kept locked up in a box, designing and developing ideas. But he used to say, well, my father, he used to say, you work hard, you get up in the morning, you come into the office, you check in with the check clock or the time clock, and then you work your 8 hours, you check out, and you go home. And I could never function that way. I was always, I would come in at noon, but I would work till midnight, or I'd be off on a climbing trip and I'd be processing things on a new business idea. So I was kind of all over the place. But I think that what you're saying here, correct me if I'm wrong, is that, we're in a new era. We're in a new space where the ability of somebody like yourself and young people to do multiple things like this and be really valuable to different organizations, helping this one for, X amount of time, the other one. I think that, that's kind of like it's kind of naturally evolved in myself over time, not just being connected to one thing, but being able to leverage the platform that I've got into many other things and do good with all this other stuff that I'm able to do. Because if I'm kept over here in this one space, I'm not really leveraging all my wisdom and my knowledge. It's all kind of kept under wraps. But if I'm able to kind of get it out there and diversify, it has a much larger effect and influence on the world for better, hopefully. So
yeah. And I imagine there are things that you learn and take and recognize from one thing that you take to another. And there's a lot of cross-pollination.
There's a lot of cross-pollination, a lot of cross-pollination, a lot of cross-pollination, and a lot of cross platform, leveraging the platform. You can leverage it from here to use it for this and that. And it's an amazing, powerful thing once you are awake to it. That's the thing, is once you realize that, and that can take time. Yeah. That's really, that's really cool. Dev, sorry, I cut you off there. I got any questions over there?
Yeah. So, I was just wondering, and I ask a similar question to a lot of our guests, but what would be like a really driving point, like a really key point in your life that you would go back and when you were a young entrepreneur starting these endeavors, what would be the lesson, the lessons you've learned now that you'd express to a younger version of yourself, just to help yourself along that path, and just your key points, kind of?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. It's something that I've given a lot of thought to, and actually, to borrow a phrase from someone that I know and respect, I would tell my younger self to take the leap. In all seriousness,
not into a crevasse, I hope, but
most of right, most of the moments in my life when I've felt the most fear, when I've felt the most, I guess, bottomed out in life, was right before something extraordinary happened that changed the course. Right. I think of, I often use this as an example, but I think it's a good one. When I joined Microsoft out of college, a lot of my friends and family were kind of surprised because they expected me to go down a much more entrepreneurial route. But I told them, like, look, the job that they're describing sounds really interesting and fun. And as long as I'm waking up in the morning and loving what I'm doing, I'm going to keep doing it. And when the day comes that I don't, I'll do something else.
Right.
And toward the end of my career with Microsoft, I was put on, I hope none of my former clients are listening to this, but I was put on the financial services team. I was working with banks and insurance companies, and it was just the most soul draining experience. The openness to technical or business transformation, it was virtually non-existent. And I woke up every morning dreading work. And there was a long period where I was kind of slipping into a little bit of a depression in my life. And it took a really good conversation with a friend of mine to make me realize, like, I told myself I wasn't going to do this, right? So why am I here? Yeah. And I didn't have any prospects. I didn't know what I was going to do if I left. But I took the leap, and it ended up working out for the best. And I can look at multiple points in my life where I felt like I have no options. I'm going to fail. Like, this is miserable. But fast forward, sometimes it was a week, sometimes it was a year. I was always in a much better position for having taken the risk.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Wow. It was funny that you mentioned that and you said that. I've actually, over the past 2 years, I've had quite a lot of Zoom calls with people about your age, and they mentioned exactly the same thing. They said that they've got a great job, they making lots of money, but they're absolutely miserable, and they want to, and it's that fear factor. It's that fear. I have the security. I have the security here. I want to go do something else. I want to take off and just take a breather. I want to travel for a year and take a breather, or whatever it is, and go discover myself. But I have the security here. What do I do? And ultimately, I have these conversations with these people, and ultimately, I've said, just like you said, take the leap, but just go and experience, your life, and it'll work out. You'll be fine. But it's that leaving that security blanket and going to do that. And ultimately what I've seen happen is that, leaving that security blanket has opened this person up to much greater and incredible things. Mm-hmm. And so I love what you said. I absolutely love what you said. And it's very ironic that I've had quite a few discussions with young people about exactly that same thing. So thanks sure. so much for sharing that. Yeah.
Now I find myself looking for leaps. I'm looking for jumps I can take, risks I can take, opportunities that make me uncomfortable, because I know that's what's going to help me grow.
Yeah. That's fabulous. Well, that's great. That's great, Cohagen. Thank you so much. Dev, you want to do a little wrap up?
That was thank you so much for being on the show, man. I mean, like, you're just like your father. You guys wear your heart on your sleeve, and it's just like, you're just a real human being. And I met, when we met you in Whistler, I really got a sense of your character, and talking to you now, it's just an honor to have you on the show, man. Thank you so much. So if you guys want to check out any more about Cohagen, www.cohagen.com, www.carbon emission projects, and then all the other stuff that he's got going on, we'll leave links in the description. Other than that, thank you so much for being on the show, brother. Is there any last words that you want to say?
Yeah, I guess if I could encourage everyone to not wait until you're a multi-billionaire with multiple corporations you control to make a change. It can start with you. Everyone has the power to control the world around them.
We do.
Incredible.
Great words. Thanks. We'll have you back. This is great. This is a great conversation. And you have the most clear audio and video. You're like 3 degrees above us. So now we gotta get out there and do some upgrade. Nigel. This is fantastic. No, seriously.
Tips, I wrote a LinkedIn article about having a quality Zoom presence. You can go check it out.
There you go. There we go. Well, actually, we'll post that too. We'll attach that to your link. So yeah, thanks, Cohagen. I'm going to. There we go. Thank you so